Trading futures and options on futures involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility. And although this could be an equation for opportunity, it's also an equation for risk. So be careful. Only fund your futures trading account with risk capital. My personal definition of risk capital is money I could afford to lose, doesn't change my lifestyle, or overly stress me out. As human beings, we make bad decisions when we're under stress, so be in a good spot. Remember, micro contracts could be friends. Take it easy on the day trade margins. You get plenty of leverage without maxing out on those day trade margins on a regular basis. We'll be taking a look at a real-time simulated live NinjaTrader trading platform today, and none of this should be construed as trade or investment advice. Past performance not indicative of future results. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to NinjaTrader Platforms Unleashed. My name is Jim Cagnina with NinjaTrader. Happy Monday. It is September 18th, 2023. We have an awful lot of stuff to talk about. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend and is relaxed and ready to get to work. Joining me live in the chat. The chat is back up, by the way, folks. Joining me live in the chat is Ed Jerkin. Ed is a senior member of the NinjaTrader team, and he will be able to answer just about any question you could think of. And he's also going to feed me some questions on the mechanics of what we're about to talk about today, which is the market analyzer. The market analyzer is more than just a quote board. It's more than just a watch list. It's very highly customizable and a pretty advanced tool on the NinjaTrader Desktop platform. So we're gonna build one from scratch. I just wanted to kind of show you what our end results are going to kind of be like. So we're going to toggle over to my desktop right now and take a peek. It's there's columns, there's rows, there's data, there's markets that I'm watching, there's color, there's alerts, there's all sorts of stuff. We're going to build something similar to this, but this is kind of my layout. I wanted to start showing that before we even click the mouse button. So feel free to ask questions in the chat. By the way, Ed will be there. I just wanted to emphasize that. If you don't know where the chat is, go to ninjatrader.com/events. The word events, EVENTS, ninjatrader.com/events. All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to start with my control panel up here on the upper left. This is my control panel up here. This opens up when you log into NinjaTrader Desktop. This is always up when your platform is up and rolling, and it gives me the status of a whole bunch of stuff, including my accounts. It has a little green button there to let me know I'm connected to data. All is good to go. So I want to go ahead and build a market analyzer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my mouse up to the new menu button on the upper left. I'm going to click on the new menu button on the upper left. It's going to give me a drop-down menu. And there's all sorts of stuff here in the drop-down menu that I could launch from the control panel. I'm going to go to Market Analyzer. It's kind of in the middle, kind of halfway down here in the middle. It says Market Analyzer. I'm going to click on that. It's going to open up a blank canvas. I feel a little bit like Michelangelo right now. I could build it and make it look however I want to do it. So it doesn't, NinjaTrader is very intuitive, right? So when you right-click on things, you get pop-up dialog boxes that pop up. Let's right-click and see what we have. We have this pop-up window that you have that has a whole bunch of options on it. Well, the first thing we need to do is add some instruments or add some markets or add some, we want to see some quotes on some markets, right? So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go to that add instrument, and I'm going to go to the right, and you'll see some defaults here. And you'll also see an ability to search for others. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of the defaults here. The E-mini S&P will be the first one. I'm just going to click on it, and it's going to go ahead and shoot up kind of a default look, right? We have the instrument or the market. We have the ask price. We have the bid price and the last price. I'm going to go ahead and build out a quote board here. So I'm going to go right-click. The second one I want to add, well, let's add all the stock index futures together. And I don't see the NQ on here, although I see the micro NQ, but I don't see the NQ. So I'm going to go down to search, and it's going to give me a search box. And it's kind of a smart search box. You type in a keyword, and you'll get some possibilities below at the bottom. I'm going to type in NQ because I know that's the symbol for the E-mini NASDAQ. And there it is, NQ. I'm going to double click on that. It's going to add a line. It's going to add a row of information for the NASDAQ. I'm going to right click. I'm going to keep doing this until I get all of my stock index futures up here that I want. Again, I'm going to go to search, and I'm going to look for the Dow. You could type in the word Dow if you want. It's kind of a smart search, and you can scroll down to find the ticker symbol that you want. That's YM. I know that. I have that memorized. So I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to add the Dow. I'm not done yet. I'm going to add the Russell 2000. I'm going to go ahead and right click, go to add instruments. And I'm going to go down to search, and I know the Russell is RTY. So I'll go ahead and add RTY, and I'm going to scroll down until I see the futures. The search box has, descriptions, and it has the type of instrument, right? There's stock instruments, there's futures instruments. RTY is right here. Double click. I'm going to add that. So these are my main stock index futures, right? These are the main ones I want to see. I'm going to add some more, though. I'm not done yet. Let's go ahead and add some, I don't know, let's add some micro contracts. So let's add the micro E-mini S&P. So again, search. Micros start with an M. That's what their ticker symbol starts with, MES. I'm going to type in MES, and there it is. Double click, and now I'm adding them. You can see how this is going to go. Now, the good thing is I'm going to go ahead, and I know that I used to have NASDAQ right there. It's gone. I'm going to hit search again. I'm going to type MNQ. We're going to get that one up. And so I have a couple of micros up here right now. So I'm going through this process. It's going to take a little time to build it the way I want it. So be patient. But once we build it, then we're going to save it. So you're never going to have to do this whole exercise again. So it'll be really, really easy peasy. Let's add some energy markets here. Let's right click, and I don't know, let's add crude oil. That seems to be a popular topic these days. Crude oil market is popping. The ticker symbol is CL for the one I want to look at. This is the WTI, light sweet crude. We could add heating oil as another energy market. Let's go to the search again, and that's HO. I know that from memory also. And I'm going to scroll down until I find it. It's the second one at the top. Double click. Lastly, let's add gasoline. We'll go to RBOB. RB is the ticker symbol, and there is RBOB gasoline futures right there. Okay, so this is the start, right? I could add all the asset classes here. I could add the treasury markets. We could add the metals markets. We could add Bitcoin, Ether, all of that stuff as asset classes you could add to your market analyzer. So we're going to stop right here for now. And I want to kind of organize this a little bit better. Okay, I want to organize this a little bit better. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to add a label row. But I want to click at the top, and I'm going to go add a label row. I'm going to click on that label row, and it'll give me the word label up here, right? That's the only thing that's here. So I'm going to double click on that, and I'm going to type in stock index futures. That's a label there. Now I want to add another label for the micro E-mini stock index futures. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to add oops, that was a blank row. That was a blank row. I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to remove that row. So you could add blank rows. I'm going to remove that for now. We'll add some blank rows in a little bit. So again, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to add label rows, and I'll just type in micro stock index futures. I could spell, kind of. All right, we're going to go ahead and add another label row for energies. Right click. I'm going to add label row again, and I'll type in. Oopsie. I'm going too fast for my fingers. I'm going to add in energy futures. All right, so now I got 3 categories. I could expand these categories. I could add more categories, but for now, we'll stop here. We'll add more later. Now I want to do some basic formatting, right? I'm going to go down to the bottom when that bar at the bottom, the gray bar there. I'm going to right click there, and I'm going to get I could right click anywhere, to be honest with you. I'm going to right click anywhere, and it's going to give me that same menu. And at the very bottom, there's properties. I'm going to click on properties. Let's see what we have. So in the properties area, this gives me the ability to kind of change the way that change some of the characteristics, like the font size is an example. The type of font I could change. The alignment of information I could change. I could make stuff bold, that kind of thing. So we're just going to go ahead and make this font a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit better. I'll change it to 16. That's the first thing I'm going to do. The second thing I'm going to do is I don't like this yellow. I don't like the yellow in the background of my instrument list. And I could change it. I'm going to go down to where it says row changed highlight background. I'm just going to make it transparent. And so now when I hit the apply and OK button, it won't be orange anymore. Now I'm going to hit OK, apply and OK for now. We'll make some more changes as we go. Pretty simple, pretty basic right here so far, right? Now I could color the rows. I can color the labels. I could do some formatting. Let's go back and do that now. I'm going to right click again. I'm going to go to properties. Again, this is the same properties box I was just at. And I'm going to look for label row background. Now in NinjaTrader, when you see background, that's going to be like the background of the cell or the background behind the actual words. Label row foreground means the text. That's kind of what that means. So label row background, and we're going to go with the NinjaTrader colors today. We'll make it orange, and I'm going to hit apply. And you can see, I'll just move this out of the way. You can see now I have labels that are, now it's starting to, strike out, stand out at me, right? It's starting to sizzle a little bit. So that's pretty good. All right, I'm not going to change anything else for now. I'll just keep it at okay. And we are so far so good. Everybody with me? If I'm going too fast, type in a question for Ed. Tell me, and Ed will tell me to slow down or backtrack or do something different. Let's add some columns now. We could add or remove columns really easily on the market analyzer. And right, the default is the instrument or the market name, the ask price, the bid price, and the last price. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of columns. I'm going to right click, and I am going to click on columns. That's pretty intuitive. It's right there. It's on the drop-down menu, columns. Let's see what we got. It's going to open up a dialog box, right? It's going to open up a dialog box. And this dialog box has the columns that are already configured are already there, right? Instrument, ask price, bid price, last price. But there's other stuff that we could add, right? There's other columns that we could add. So let's start out slow here, and let's add some of these things. Now, some of these won't apply, some of these will apply, but let's go ahead right off the bat and add net change. I'm going to double click on net change, and it's going to bring that available down to the configure section. So once it's in the configure section, I'm going to make sure the net change is highlighted, which is going to activate the properties window on the right side. And I'm going to see here, I have right off the bat, I have some potential information I could display that might be different than the default, right? So percent is the default. I like to change this to points. You could change it to any of these options if you want, but I'm going to change it to points. It'll tell me what the net change is from the previous day in points. We'll go ahead and do that and add that. Now, again, it's going to ask me for some visuals. The background's transparent. The foreground is black. I'm cool with that. We're going to leave that alone for now. But I am going to color code some of the cells. And I'm going to do that. You see under conditions where it says cell, I'm going to click on conditions. This is super cool. You click on conditions and you get another box, right? And I could start customizing. I'm going to click add. And the very first thing it says change cell if value equals 0, right? So I want to change the foreground from black to green, right, on the following condition. If it's greater than or greater than and equal, either way, I'm going to change it. And then the value, I could pick a specific value, right? You don't have to pick, you should pick a specific value. So for instance, and this is kind of like an alert almost, where I could go ahead and change that value to what, I don't know, let's change it to 42. Let's say my magic number here for the E-mini S&P is going to be 4510. So 4510, and I'm going to apply it to the ES, right? You could search too. There's a pretty cool little thing there. I'm going to search, and then I'm going to hit OK and apply. Now, when I do that, I have my net change column here, and then it'll color code that particular column when we hit that particular condition, right? Right now it's black, right? I don't want to see it, I don't want to see it change from black to green until we get to my price. We're not there yet. So that's one way it's kind of a visual color alert, if you will, to add that net change that way. Again, feel free to type into the chat if anything's going too fast or too slow. The other thing I'm going to add is daily volume. I want to see my daily volume. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to columns, and I'm going to look for daily volume. And there it is. Daily volume is right here. I'm going to double click it. It's going to bring it down to the configured section. And then once it's down to the configured section, I'm going to highlight daily volume. And I'm going to see if any of these changes, if I want to make any changes. And again, I could do the same color coding thing as well if I wanted to, but I'm not. I'm just going to add it. I'm going to hit apply and OK. Now it's on the chart now, right? Now, maybe I don't want some of these columns. Maybe I don't want ask price or bid price, right? So I can go back to the configured section, highlight ask price, and I could remove it by clicking on the remove button down here. Same with bid price. I could click it and hit the remove button. And so now when I hit apply and OK, I have last price, net change, and daily volume. Pretty straightforward. So far, so good, right? All right. Let's do some more stuff because there's a lot more columns we could add, right? Not only could we add basic information, but we could add indicator columns as well. Let's right click and see what we got. I'm going to hit columns again. And we could add indicator data to a column pretty easily. Now, one of the tricks here, and we'll add some of these other columns a little bit later, but let's go ahead and add an indicator. I'm going to look for the word indicator. I'm going to double click on it, and it's going to open up it's going to send that indicator down to the configured section, but it doesn't know which one I want yet, right? It doesn't know. So the default is the first one, which is ADL. So once I click on that, I'm going to go to the right-hand side, and I'm going to be able to change it to something else. Let's hit that drop-down menu here and I'm going to pick average true range, because this is something me and Tom Schneider look at every morning at the opening range. I'm going to click on that average true range. I'm going to keep the period at 14. I'm going to keep the input series the same based on the last price. And I'm going to associate it with my 10-minute chart. So I'm going to put value at 10 right here. The other thing that's kind of important, I'm going to add some data here. Days back, I'm just going to put 365. I'm going to put 365 days of back data that it will use to calculate this. Now, I'm going to keep moving down where it says calculate, and I'm going to say on each tick, I want to see it move around in real time. I'm going to hit apply and OK. And it's going to add that. It'll take a second to populate once you first put it in there because it's doing all the math now behind the scenes. And then we'll have our average true range on a 10-minute. And there we go. It's populating it now. It's coming in right now. So again, we could color code these as well if we want. And I'm going to leave these black for now because the next column we are going to color code, because the next one we're going to add something else right now, which I think is also pretty cool. Again, we're going to go to columns. We're going to click on the word indicator on the upper left in the available section. And then, oopsie, I did instruments, my bad. So we're going to go to the available column, and we're going to find the word indicator. I'll double click on that. And again, it'll default to ADL, but that's okay because I know I'm looking for something different. In this case, I'm going to do ADX, right? We're going to do ADX, and I'm going to put the ADX in there. Period 14, again, value 10. And I'm going to use days back 365. Trading hours, we're going to leave blank. That'll default properly. Calculate on each tick. And I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to hit the apply button. It's going to add that column as well. I'll hit OK. And there we have it. There's my ADX. Now I remember that 25 is a magic number here on ADX. So I want to color code it. Right, let's go back here and color code this ADX. And I'm going to go to columns again. And I'm going to find my configured ADX 14 down here. And then I'm going to go to cells, condition cells. And I'm going to add conditions. I clicked twice really quickly. My bad. Let's click one at a time. I click once, change cell if value equals 0. Okay, so I'm going to go to the right-hand side here. Now, if it's over 25, I want it to be green. So I'm going to say color for foreground green. And then I'm going to say change the condition to greater than or equal to 25. That's condition 1. But I'm going to add another condition 2. And I'm going to say I'm going to do the same thing, only I want it to be red. I'm sorry. I want it to be red if the condition is less than 25. I'll hit OK, I'll hit apply, and I'll hit OK. And so, well, there's a lot of things less than 25 right now. A lot of slow-moving markets right now. Again, ADX is more of a momentum indicator, indication of momentum, and everything is kind of slowing up a little bit. So that's why it's all red. Something starts turning green, I'm gonna look at it. I want to see what it's doing. So that's how I just kind of do a global color change instead of the color change we did before, which was a signal color change. All right, so that's how you do that. Let's add another one. Another one I like to look at is the fast stochastics. So let's go ahead and add fast stochastics. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go ahead and go to columns again. I'm going to go to indicators again. And I am going to double click. I'm going to highlight the ADL one at the very bottom here. It adds them in order. And then I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to look for fast stochastics. And I think it's stochastics fast at the bottom here. There it is. I'm going to click on it and it'll populate it. Now, again, since I usually use 10-minute charts, I'm going to keep it as a minute chart. I'm not going to change any of the parameters. I'm going to keep it as a minute chart. I'm going to put a value in as at 10, right? I'm going to load some more days back, go 365 just to be safe. It's a lot of data. I'm going to change calculate on bar to calculate on each tick. And then again, I'm going to go through the conditions thing, the color code stuff. So we'll click once and I'm going to hit the add button. And then the first one again, the magic number here is 80, right? So if we're above 80, so I'm going to say greater than or equal to, then I'd like it to be green. I'm going to go ahead and add another condition. And I'm going to do it for 20. If it's below 20, I'd like it to be red. I'm going to hit, well, I'm sorry, I didn't change conditions. Conditions now has to be less than or equal to 20 to be red. Greater than or equal 80, less than, equal 20. I'm going to hit OK, hit apply, and OK. And so now I have it. Now everything between 20 and 80 is black, right? I could do another condition to say everything between is, purple or whatever color that I would like for it to show up as. So you could add these indicators column by column by column. We have 3 of them right now. Is my look and feel. You could add as many or as few as you want. It's really kind of that easy to do. All right, what else could we do with this thing? We could add alerts. Let's go ahead and right click and add an alert. Oh, there it is. It's right there in the column. Add an alert. And let's do something simple. Let's say we want to know the condition is going to be for the E-mini S&P, we would like to know if the market goes above 45.20 is an example. So I can go ahead and set my contract up by clicking on that little magnifying glass. So it's going to apply it to the E-mini S&P as an example. And what is it going to apply? It's going to apply a condition, right? And the condition is simply going to be a numerical value, right? And it's going to be the value that we're interested in analyzing is 45. Let's just say, I don't know, we'll say 15. We'll make it a little bit closer here. That's the only thing we're doing here. That's the only thing we're doing. So I'm gonna hit OK. And now I'm gonna go back down here to actions and I'll hit the add button. What do I want to do? Do I want to share a message? Do I want a pop-up dialog box? Or do I want to submit an order? I could submit an order if this condition happens. So let's go ahead and click submit an order. This is super cool. I'm going to pick the account. Now I have a few accounts, so I got to pick the right one, right? SimCag Simi. And let's just say, as an example, I want to buy a contract on a market order if, in fact, my price gets hit, right? That 45.15. Maybe in my mind, it's like, all right, we're going to rally now. We broke through an area of resistance. I could apply an ATM strategy if I wanted to. I'm not going to do it now, but I'll hit OK, and I'll hit apply, and OK. So now I've got an alert working, right? I'll get that pop-up box that comes up and says, "Hey, Jim, your condition, you just bought one at the market." You could do an alert so that you don't actually trigger trade if you want. Let's do one for crude oil as an example. Let's go back to alerts, and let's say I'm going to pick a new alert. I'm going to add a new one on the left. Alert number 2, it's called, and I'm going to look for a crude oil. So I'm going to type in CL. Crude oil futures, and I'm going to select it. I've selected crude oil November 2023 contract. That is the front month. And I'm going to look for a condition. And let's say right now crude oil is trading at 90.82. Let's say if I want to know if this market trades 91 even, as an example. So pretty close. So I'm going to click here again. Again, I'm going to hit numeric as well. And I'm just going to type in 91.00. I'm sorry, that was not 91.00. That was 90.00. 91.00. And I'm going to hit OK. So I've completed this section. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to add that alert, right? And we're going to do a pop-up dialog box, right? Pop-up dialog box. So this will pop it up. So if I'm not looking at the quote board or, whatever, I'll get this ding in this pop-up box once that condition is hit. I'm going to hit apply and OK. And we've created that alert as well. And maybe if we sit here long enough today, it'll actually populate. Is everybody with me here? How are we doing? Everything is good, right? We're starting to look a little bit like my original quote board, right? We have all the same columns. We have all the same signals. We have all the same everything. My original one has more markets. We could add some more markets if you want, pretty easily. Let's do that real quickly, just to kind of complete the picture a little bit. I'm going to right click in the white space. I'm going to choose add instruments. And then I'm going to go all the way down to my search feature. And I'm going to contemplate what I want to ask. Well, I want to add the currency. So I'm going to type in this letter 6, which is the symbol for most of the currency futures. And I'm going to see all of my options. We'll start with the Euro FX. Then I'm going to go ahead and add another one. I'll right click, search, type in 6, British pound sterling. That's a good one. Right click, instrument, search. And let's do another 6. We'll do the Japanese yen. Everybody loves the Japanese yen. So now I have 3 currencies. And remember, I want to right click and I'm going to add that label row. And then I'm going to double click on the word label and I'm going to write, oopsie. Oh, I'll change the font in a second. Currency futures Forex. And hit that enter button. And there you go. The font gets back to where it's supposed to be. And so I have another category. I could left justify the labels if I want by going to right click at the very bottom of the properties. Again, hit the bottom property. And it's going to open up that dialog box again. And I should be able to left click. Label row text alignment. Instead of center, I'm going to change it to left. Drop down menu, left, apply, OK. And there we have it. It's all the way we want it. Now, one other thing you could do, which instead of changing the cell, you could change the background text, right? You could change the background text. The cell color background if you'd like instead. So, for instance, let's just go right click. I'm gonna go ahead and click on columns. And I don't know, last price is an example. And let's say I want to make that a lighter shade of orange. I'm going to go ahead and just format it. I'm going to go to color for background, which is the background. Remember, color for foreground is the text. So we'll go hit that drop down menu. I'm going to look for something a little bit more subtle. I don't know, maybe, Navajo white. We'll see what that looks like. And I'll hit apply and OK. And it changed just that column. It changed the background on just that column. So now it's really starting to look like mine, right? The only difference really is my font size, and my original one was a little bit smaller than this one, and I have way more markets on there as well. So I have more markets on my. But again, you get the idea of how to add them. It's pretty easy. Some people like to provide a blank. You could right click and put a blank row to give yourself a little bit more separation. I'm just going to drag this one up. So you could just realign any of these by just clicking and dragging to a different position, letting go of your mouse. And now I put the E-mini S&P in third place. So again, you could add these blank rows as well. Some people like to do them. Some people don't like to do them. Totally, again, customizable, whatever is interesting for you. If you want to delete something, you're just going to right click and you just hit remove row. Really, really that easy. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've learned how to create an instrument list or basically a quote board. We've learned how to add and delete columns. We've learned how to add indicators. We've learned how to color code data within the indicator. We learned how to set an alert for a pop-up box, and we learned how to set an alert to actually trigger a trade. And it was a simple trade. We could have done an ATM, automated trade management, with a simple bracket OCO or something like that, but we didn't do it. So the only thing I haven't done is really kind of completed this whole look and feel all the way down. And I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to go ahead and add some of the metals markets, because that's a great market. Those are great markets to trade, right? I'm going to look for gold as an example, GOLD. Again, the smart search is going to pull up a bunch of options for you. And I'm going to scroll down until I find GC. There it is. Futures, gold futures, double click, and I'm going to add it. We'll do the same thing with silver, right? We'll right click. We'll go to search. We're going to type in the word silver. Double click, and it'll put that silver contract up there as well. Last thing again, remember, I am going to add my label row, and it already left justified it because I left justified them all with the properties area there. And I'm going to type in metals futures. Hit the tab button, and there we have it. All right, all right. Well, that's the market analyzer. That's it in a nutshell. I would really recommend experimenting with adding columns, adding alerts, adding, if you do add trade, if you do trigger trades from your alerts, you know, practice it in sim mode just to make sure you got that whole part down. You know, practice on customizing colors and all of that stuff. And it's you know, this is very, very intuitive. It's easy to size. You know, you could put your mouse between the columns to kind of make columns different sizes. You could use this window just like you would any other windows on a desktop and make it expand it or contract it. It's super easy. Other thing you could do is you could have more than one market analyzer. So, and there's two ways to do it. One way is just to go to the control panel and pop open a new instance of the market analyzer. The other way to do it is at the very bottom here, you can hit that plus button, that little plus button down here, and it gives you another blank canvas, and you could create something completely different on this with this tab, right? Maybe we just wanted to have a couple of different columns up at the top, right? We didn't want to have the same columns at the top as an example, because maybe you wanted it to squeeze it into a different part of your layout. I don't know, but you could do that with the tab button at the bottom here. And you could have as many of these open as you want. And of course, you could have a second instance of the market analyzer open like I do. I have two instances open right now. And it's really, really, really easy. Now, one last thing I do want to show, I think it's kind of an important element of the market analyzer. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. I'm going to open up a chart really fast. Let's go to, here, I got one right here. I got a monthly chart right here, open, high, low, close. A monthly chart. And you can see on my chart, on my monthly chart, hang on a sec, let me just kind of make this a little bit better for everybody to see. Let me kind of push this up here. Again, I can manipulate this however I want to make it the most outstanding layout in the world, which I think mine is, by the way. Notice I have this little orange square instrument link. I have it set at orange. You could set it at any color you want. I'm just going with the team colors here, orange. Now I'm going to go over to my market analyzer, and I'm going to click on that same instrument link. You see how I move my mouse over and it says instrument link? I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on orange. And now these colors are synced, right? So now when I click on one of these, one of the markets, it's going to change the chart. So I just clicked on the NASDAQ. It changed the chart to a NASDAQ. And since I also have my trading ladder color coded with that instrument link, it changed my depth of market, my Superdome as well. So by having that selected, color synced, then you could go ahead and just click on a different market, and it will change all the other windows in your screen if you want to do it that way. You don't have to do it that way. You could manually change anything you want really easily through the instrument dialog box on every window. But this is kind of a quick fix there. All right, so we did it. Now we're not quite done yet, right? We have a market analyzer all set up the way we want it. I'm just going to position it to where I want it on my desktop. Now, when I'm done for the day, right? When I'm done for the day, I'm not going to close out this X button on the market analyzer. Don't do that. Don't close out the X button on the market analyzer. If you're happy with all the data you have on there and how you have it all laid out, don't do that. Instead, close the control panel up here with this X. Click on it. And they'll say, do you want to save your workspace? I'm going to say yes, because the next time I log in, it's going to have this exact same one up here right now. Got it? So make sure you always close it from up here. All right. Easy. We did it. We did it, folks. Appreciate everybody spending time with me here today at NinjaTrader Platforms Unleashed. We have a lot more work to do. We have a lot of great events coming up the rest of the week. Let me just run those by you really quickly while I have your attention. We have, hang on, I'm scrolling to my cheat sheet. We have opening range and bars closing every day, right? Opening range is at 9:15 East Coast time. Bars closing is at 3:15 East Coast time in the afternoon, and that's with me, Tom Schneider, and Michael Burke. We also have special events on Tuesday. Traders Workshop is this week with Tom Schneider and a special guest, James Thorpe of Trade Day, talking about solid risk management approach. Traders Workshop is for ecosystem vendors to come and talk about their products and their analysis techniques. It's a very powerful show. Wednesday, See the Futures. My special guest is Jimmy Iorio, and we're going to be talking about the Fed. It's all about the Fed, pre-Fed announcement day. So that's Wednesday. Thursday, Develop Your Edge with Anthony Credelli. They're going to Tom and Anthony are going to talk about keys to trading consistency. And then Friday in the middle of the day, I'm saving the best for last. Friday in the middle of the day is Technical Analysis Explained with Tom Schneider, and he is a special guest. This is a real special guest. This is Michael Burke from NinjaTrader, and they're going to be talking about the Ikamuchi Cloud. So that's a full week of stuff, a lot of work to do. Hopefully, guys, you could visit here. Feel free to participate in the chat, ninjatrader.com/events. And hang on, I just got a little note here. See if this is something I need to talk about. No, we're good. So appreciate everybody being here today. Most important message, remember, folks, be safe out there. Be good to each other. Thanks for coming.